Hello, church family. I want to take just a few moments to share with you some of the exciting changes that are taking place here at Parma Heights Baptist Church. There's some really great things going on. You may or may not know that for the last many years, we've been experiencing a decline in our Sunday morning worship attendance. Basically, we've gone from 1,000 to 700 in about 13 years. Along with that, what that means is that the number of people coming to Christ has gone down. The number of people following the Lord in baptism isn't maybe what it used to be. And we have very few young adults in our church family anymore. Well, we all realize that if we continue to do things the same, we really don't have much of a sustainable future. In other words, it's either change or die. So several months ago, I, along with our pastoral staff and our deacons, we hired a church consultant called the Unstuck Group. The Unstuck Group has come in and has done a couple of different things. One of the first things that they did, they got the pastors, deacons, and a variety of church leaders together, and we spent an entire week and almost 20 hours together, looking carefully at our past, where we've come from as a church, carefully evaluating our present condition, and then dreaming about our future. And as a result of that, and taking all that information, we've come up with kind of a strategic plan with 4 primary initiatives. Now, I'm going to talk to you more about that in some subsequent videos, much like this, at a later date. What I want to talk to you about today, though, is the other part of the Unstuck process. Another representative from the church consulting firm came and worked with our staff. And before they got here, they had each of the staff members take a leading from your strengths analysis. And then they met with us together as a team. We did some exercises together, and then that consultant met with each one of our staff members individually, and then came back with some recommendations of how we might be able to be more effective as a church staff in helping people find and follow Jesus Christ. And I want to go through some of those recommendations that she's given us. The first recommendation that our consultant made was that we would move to a senior pastor, executive pastor structure. What that means is that we'd bring on an executive pastor who would have oversight of our pastoral staff, our support staff, and our maintenance personnel as well, helping them set goals with accountability and support them there. What that does is that would free me up to lead with what I'm best at, which is preaching and people care and vision casting and communication. And the exciting part is that the consultant felt that we already had that executive person on staff already. They've suggested that we would make Craig Anderson our executive pastor. So he's taken on that role, and we're kind of working at that together, and that seems to be a really, really exciting change for all of us. The next recommendation that the Unstuck Group gave to us was to create a next generation pastor, or we call it a next gen pastor. Someone on staff that would provide oversight, alignment, and feed and flow from one ministry into the next ministry. A next generation pastor that would be over children's ministry, and then youth ministries, and then our brand new young adult ministries. And the person that she thought was just for the job was Dan Adams. And so Dan is taking that role on, continuing to keep his youth ministry role, but also kind of providing some of that oversight and supervision of children's, youth, and young adult ministries as those continue on. And the third recommendation from the Unstuck Group was to move forward with the hire of a full-time discipleship pastor. The discipleship pastor would be fully in charge of all of our growth groups, of course, and very heavily involved in our senior adult ministry now that Pastor Terry has retired from that ministry. Also, they'd be providing support for our men's ministry and women's ministries as well. What that does then, that kind of frees Tim Hunsicker up to slide over into our connections ministry, and that's kind of plugging up all the holes that we have, filling all the vacancies that we have on our pastoral staff. So we're really excited about the changes and the potential that all brings with it. So let's put it all together. With our new staffing structure, as senior pastor, my primary focus will be preaching, people care, and vision casting. Craig Anderson will continue leading our worship ministry, but as executive pastor, he'll also provide support and oversight to ministry leaders and operations. To provide time for Craig's added responsibilities, a part-time worship leader will be brought on board to infuse new energy and direction for our contemporary service. Dan Adams will provide direct oversight to the youth ministries, but as next-gen pastor, He will add leadership and support to all ministries for ages 0 to 35. Dan will need support to fulfill his new role, so we'll be hiring a part-time youth director to assist him with continued development of our outstanding youth ministry. Next, we'll be calling a full-time discipleship pastor who will provide direct leadership to senior adults and growth groups while supporting men's and women's ministries. Finally, Tim Hunsaker will slide over from his part-time discipleship role and become our part-time connections pastor to oversee guest connections and missions. All of these changes have been discussed, prayed about, and approved by our Board of Deacons. And I want to thank you so much for your flexibility during this time of significant transition. Have a great day.